It's Friday, Feedback Friday, the feedbackiest day of the week. Ha! It's Feedback Friday, and I'm recording this extremely late. So I'm not going to sing. It's just too much singing right now. I had a memory Patreon parody done in sort of half done in honor of the Cats trailer, but I'll do that again on Monday. That very terrifying Cats live action movie that's coming out. But help support this channel, become a monthly patron, patreon.com/LeannaK. I have had to spend $1,200 this month in vet bills. Momo was sick again, but Delilah was also kind of losing weight and a whole bunch of stuff. And it required 2 sets of tests because it was an elevated liver enzyme anyway. It ends up she has hyperthyroid, which is good news. It's not cancer. It's not any of that stuff. It's very easily treated with medication, so that's a relief. There's also other stuff going on that I'm not going to get into here. I'm going to give the patrons more information on it in full disclosure. I'm not sure how far to get into it without going too far and possibly getting somebody who's already kind of unstable really angry at me. So I feel like I should disclose, let people know kind of what's going on and why I missed Twitch yesterday and why I was late for Twitch on Tuesday. And I admit I have been off my game. I just can't get into it in a totally public forum. But like I said, I will do full disclosure as full as I feel comfortable doing in Patreon. That's part of the reason it's what it's for. I thought this was just going to be a cute cat video week, and you can hear Momo sneezing somewhere. Poor Momo. He has chronic rhinosinusitis, but this one went too long and he got a secondary sinus infection, so poor guy was a snot factory. But let's get to your feedback for the week. I was pleasantly surprised by the response to the thing I did on the Game Awards and Kojima and my opinions of whether it's a conflict of interest. I expected way more pushback than that, and wasn't. People accepted the explanation, which is great. Apparently, somebody else, the Easy Allies podcast, said that they know how Jeff Keighley run things, and he's apparently friends with everyone, so no real bias to worry about. He puts together the show, doesn't decide anything involving the awards themselves. He's the host, producer program, not the outcomes. I'm going to shout out Shadowcam, but not read the comment. Shadowcam, your comment made me laugh. I'm not going to read it because I don't want it to start a shitstorm, but it was funny. Well, the Dark Dragoon said, it's been disproven, but it looked bad at first, so it still looks bad as practically Kotaku mantra about literally everything. Which I think the Dark Dragoon settled in on what my issue was and why I felt the need to speak about it. Because that's not journalism. Journalism is about asking appropriate questions, but also making it clear when those questions have been cleared. Granted, they tend to bury the clarification on page A19. I know that's a newspaper term, but you know what I mean. When the original story was on A1, I know these are dated terms, but they still do follow a story. And when there's no there, certain outlets are better than others for saying there's no there. But I do think this was a particularly unfair take on something that, while the guy has had something of a dubious past with the whole Dorito Pope phenomenon, in this case, he really didn't do anything wrong. And so I'm glad that enough people see that, because that's not cool. Solar Willpower said, what do you think about the situation with Famitsu? One of their executives also had a cameo in Death Stranding, and the magazine gave the game a perfect score without disclosing the cameo. Well, that's easy. You should disclose. Like, I hope the executive wasn't the one who reviewed the game. But still, that's basic. I mean, maybe the underling employee didn't know, they didn't recognize the executive from the company. That's the only benefit of doubt I can give, but I admit that looks bad. They should correct it after the fact. That because the problem isn't that he was in the game. The problem isn't the perfect score, though. I think I'd argue with the perfect score as much as I like the game. Not sure about a perfect score. Sometimes if it's I don't know how they do the reviews, but if it's out of 5, that's harder. If it's out of 10 and you can give even if it's like some magazines do not like half stars and it's only 5 stars. So like 4 stars is an 80 and 5 stars is a 100, and if the game like comes in at a 90, then that's hard. I don't know how they do things, but the lack of disclosure of the cameo isn't okay. If you disclose the cameo, I think nobody would have an issue with it. It's just like when MSNBC was covering the Ronan Farrow NBC News dispute. They disclosed that obviously, it's kind of hard to avoid, that NBC is the parent company of MSNBC, and there was a lot of consternation internally. That's how you do things responsibly. To not disclose something that should not be an issue is creating an issue where there previously wasn't one. So I hope that answers the question. Some people say it's hard to get worked up because they don't really care about the Game Awards. That's totally fair. But I thought this was fairly well handled. There was some debate over whether there were stronger games than the ones that were nominated. General consensus is even though people didn't necessarily think it was maybe the best game, everybody kind of recognizing it was sort of a weak year. The one that people seem a little bit disappointed wasn't included is Borderlands 3. And I wonder if that might not be bias against the publisher or I don't know what. It's really hard for me to figure out how they make these decisions, but that seems to be the one that people suggest. Other people said things like Shenmue 3 should be given a nod. Sometimes I will say this, that award shows release timing is often significant, which is dumb, but it matters. If a game comes out too early in the year, people forget about it by the time award show comes. Now, that doesn't explain Borderlands 3. But bless you, Momo. I don't remember when Shenmue came out, but maybe that was that explained that. And I think in general it was just sort of a weak year, and we can sort of agree on that. And hopefully with the next console cycle coming out, somebody else said Devil May Cry 5. That was the one I was reaching for. Okay. That was the one. Sorry. People say Devil May Cry 5. Multiple people said Devil May Cry 5 should have been nominated. I'm not quite sure I'm not quite sure why that one was left out. I'm not privy, but and then Charlie Milroy said basically that I know which games I've enjoyed playing and don't need industry insiders to agree with me. And I think that's the general consensus of most people, that these things are fun hype machines, but they don't matter in real terms in that way. And I really think that's probably the most sane take on it you could possibly get. That was sort of the take on the video about the conundrum of like versus like game judgment, that as Nero Byrne, Game awards are just corporate BS. We could scrap them completely, and gaming as a hobby or subculture would lose exactly nothing aside from Game of the Year stickers to slap on boxes. And I think that's accurate. I think that's fair. It's definitely an and nothing was lost thing. It's yeah. Yeah. Well said. I don't This was an interesting comment that was an aside. One person said, I'm triggered by the some people don't want to mess with settings mindset. Just why? Once the settings are set. Hello, Momo. Once the settings are set, once stuff is set up, you never have to mess with it. Again, furthermore, why wouldn't you want the freedoms and control that you get over some of your own stuff that comes with the PC? One guy responded, and I'm triggered that PC gamers still can't accept that they have a level of technical know-how that not everyone has, and the rest of us like having a machine you just boot up and it works. Funny that. That's pretty much the debate in a nutshell. I will say, though, that setup isn't just one and done. Every game, and it's gotten a lot better. I haven't had the same problems with setup that I did back in the day. I'm talking in like the Pentium 1 days. Age, I've been around a long time, but compatibility has gotten better, but there are still a lot of PC games that ship with major bugs. And I think the last one, I'm trying to remember if it was the Witcher 3 or one of the Civilization games the Witcher 3, I got the won't run bug, and so I had to stop playing it for a while and then go back to it. Some other was it Civilization 3, I think, just wouldn't run. Even though it was for sale, it just wouldn't run. And those sorts of things are frustrating because, I bought it as part of a bundle, so I couldn't return it because like other games in the bundle ran. But there is still stuff. There is still stuff with SATA drives and not SATA. I'm forgetting the name. It's late. But there is some stuff that console gamers just don't want to have to deal with. And that's totally fair. I would like to see games come out on both the consoles and PC. Like, I'd like to see some PlayStation games come out on the PC, like that, more PlayStation games like Death Stranding is, because I don't think there's competition between PS4 games or Xbox games and PC. PC gamers are going to play on PC. There's a few weirdos like me who have a console as well, but that's because I really like the exclusives. And there are certain games I prefer to play on console just cause. I mainly have them for the exclusives, which is why I'm not sure I'm going to buy the next Xbox, because everything's available on PC. But obviously I'm the minority there, right? So there we go. I'll leave it there for feedback. I will try to rest up and be more on my game for Monday. I am going to try to replace the Twitch stream sometime this afternoon. I'm not quite sure when yet. Maybe 3 o'clock-ish. I have to work around the new pills for Delilah weren't in stock yet, so they might come in tomorrow. I'm going to have to go get them. They close early on Friday, so that's sort of my life right now. But thanks for watching. Again, sorry I won't sing, but patreon.com/LeannaK. Your support is greatly appreciated. It's been a very expensive month. Thanks for watching.